For nearly a century, being rich in England meant living inside a colour that was killing you and paying extra for the privilege. It's the 1860s, and a physician is standing over a child's bed in a London townhouse, running through symptoms that match nothing in his training. Bloodshot eyes, blistered skin, a body shutting down for no visible reason. This is the fourth child from this exact house to die this way. His name is Dr. Thomas Orton, and he's about to notice the one detail everyone else in the room walked past. The wallpaper. A green so bright, it looked wet.
To understand why that wallpaper was everywhere, you have to understand how grey everything else was. London ran on coal smoke. Buildings, clothes, skies, all the same dull soot colour. So when a Swedish chemist named Carl Wilhelm Scheele accidentally combined copper with arsenic trioxide in 1775, what came out of it didn't just look green. It looked like nothing else that existed. Luminous, saturated, and it never faded the way every other green did. If you wanted the world to know you had money, your home had to be this colour. It covered the walls of Buckingham Palace. It went into carpets, dresses, candy wrappers, children's toys. But the men manufacturing it knew exactly what was mixed into the dye. When journalists started asking whether living room walls should legally contain a known poison, the industry didn't pull the product. They ran ads. Picture a reporter walking into a manufacturer's office with the one question everyone wanted answered.
Does this paper actually contain arsenic?
Trace amounts. Completely safe.
Safe how?
Unless someone licks the wallpaper.
Oh, nobody licks their wallpaper.
Then there's nothing to worry about.
They weren't lying about the licking part. They were lying about everything else that wallpaper could do without anyone touching it at all. Arsenic pigment doesn't stay put. As the ink dried and aged, it crumbled into dust too fine to see. And every time a servant swept a floor or a child ran down a hallway, that dust went straight into the air the whole house was breathing. That alone could slowly poison a family. But British homes had a second, worse problem. Damp. Moisture trapped behind the paper created the perfect place for a specific mould to grow in the dark. And that mould didn't just sit there, it fed on the arsenic in the pigment. And as it broke the compound down, it released a heavy, completely odorless gas called trimethylarsine. In plain terms, the fungus was breathing in a solid poison and breathing out a gas that could kill you in a sealed room with no smell and no warning.
If you were the doctor treating a patient with a headache and a sore throat in 1860, you had no reason to suspect any of this. Standard advice: bed rest, windows shut against the cold, fire lit to keep them warm. Every single instruction made it worse. The heat sped up the fungus growing behind the wall. The sealed windows trapped the gas it produced. The doctor's cure was, mechanically, a gas chamber with a comfortable bed inside it.
It didn't stop at wallpaper. Ballroom gowns were dyed in the same pigment. A single dress could carry roughly 900 grains of arsenic, when it only takes about 4 grains to kill a grown man. As women danced under hot gaslights, sweat and body heat caused the dye to bleed straight into their skin, leaving raw, weeping sores under their arms and around their necks. Children bit the paint off toys. People licked green postage stamps and collapsed. And in the factories printing this wallpaper, young women worked 14-hour days, breathing pure pigment dust, their eyes going bloodshot, their skin breaking down while they were still alive, their deaths never once connected in the papers to the deaths happening in the mansions across town.
Dr. Orton scraped a sample of that nursery wallpaper and took it back to his lab. What came out of it was enough arsenic to kill an entire street. He published his findings. The wallpaper industry, worth millions, called him a fraud to protect the profits. And then a story broke that no manufacturer could spin their way out of.
After Waterloo, Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to Saint Helena, a damp, humid island where he lived out his final years in a house papered floor to ceiling in vivid green. He died in 1821, complaining of stomach pain and a burning sensation no one could explain. Decades later, scientists tested a preserved lock of his hair with modern forensic techniques and found arsenic levels high enough to be lethal on their own. When researchers finally got a surviving scrap of his actual bedroom wallpaper, it tested positive for the same pigment killing families back in London. The damp sea air had turned an emperor's prison into the same trap sitting in every fashionable house in Britain. By the 1880s, the evidence had piled up too high to deny, and governments finally banned arsenic-based dye. A whole century where the colour of nature had quietly become the colour of dying in your own bed. Here's the part that should actually bother you. Every one of these people had the best doctors and the most expensive homes money could buy, and none of it saved them. Because the danger wasn't hiding somewhere obvious. It was sitting in plain sight. Government approved, sold as a luxury. Sound familiar? We still assume on the market means checked. History says otherwise, about as often as it says yes. If this story stayed with you, drop a comment below. I read every single one. Before you go, watch next. The Legal Cannibal of Europe is the perfect next watch. You need to see it.